Maybe. Yeah. Mine was mostly my mom, but she was a bodybuilder and I got threatened to be thrown through walls a lot.
Every time I learn about your background, it just so you're a nepo baby. Your father is a very powerful man. Your mother is a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Hold on, let
Well,
me.
sorry, bodybuilder is the wrong word. She does like strong woman stuff. She's a power lifter, which I'd say is objectively scarier than a bodybuilder.
Yeah, because they're actually okay. These are all men that I'm looking up. Whoa, man.
If you're trying to like find her, she's not gonna pop up on anything. But
Anyway, just welcome to the podcast, episode 22. Right before this, we were talking about how we would discipline children. Um,
I don't think we should share that. No, no, actually, you were talking about how annoying people make you want to cause great acts of violence. We were not talking about. We were sharing instances of our
we
past, how
segued we
we were
segued into
threatened by our
that.
parents. I don't think that falls into us discussing how you should discipline children. So it's like talking about the actions of Nazi Germany and then like using that as a reference to, oh yeah, we were talking about how to fix the economy. Like, no.
Hey, he made the trains run on time. Oh, that was the other guy.
God. Oh. No,
Yeah.
that was the third body double.
Yes, the third body double. Thank you for bringing it back to our Sam Elliott x Hitler x Bigfoot fan fiction from last week. Yeah, so today, this was the one that you recommended.
Yep,
You
like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you recommended it like 3 weeks ago, and then I became very busy and did not have time. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I had time now, maybe. So let's talk about the Skyrim Thieves Guild questline.
Oh
What are your
yeah. Oh,
thoughts?
we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Um, I think just to kind of like open this up, I picked this because this is definitely the quest line in Skyrim that I have done like the most amount of times. Like as far as
You're
uh
genuinely insane for that.
when I replay Skyrim, I always end up gravitating towards um kind of like a stealthy playthrough, and I don't know,
Stealth
I
Archer, yeah.
enjoy the Thieves Guild quest line. I've only actually done a stealth archer once.
Really?
I like the stealth melee type thing, which is why I usually pick Thieves Guild over uh like the Dark Brotherhood if I'm not doing both.
When I first played Skyrim, I remember playing a battle mage, and then I played a warrior, and then I played a stealth archer. And
Hmm.
I remember being really excited about the battle mage, because like the flame spell was really kind of fun. Like that was a fun low level spell, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
how cool are they gonna get in the upper levels? And they didn't. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, that's also the Mages Guild quest line in Skyrim is
Uh-huh.
not great. It's better than
Oh
the
no,
Thieves Guild, so
I don't know. I don't like the Mages Guild quest line. I think
I,
it's
I don't
boring.
I, I don't think the Mages Guild quest lines in any of the games have ever been great.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think I enjoy the one in Morrowind for the wrong reasons. The Telvanni questline I think is better. Um,
No, I definitely like the Thieves Guild quest line better than the Mage Guild quest line. But I think the like one of the strongest thing that the Thieves Guild quest line has going for it is the guild itself. I think it has one of the more interesting kind of foray of NPCs that you
it's
can
got good
interact
set
with.
pieces, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I genuinely, if we're ranking like the four, I would say the four main guild quests in Skyrim would be Companions or Fighters Guild, College Winterhold or Mages Guild, Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild. And
Hmm.
if you ask me to rank them, I think the best is the Dark Brotherhood, which still has
Oh, easily.
problems. Um,
Yeah.
it
But the
is
dark that's like a that's good shit though.
it does not compare to the Oblivion one, but it is the best in Skyrim, and it's maybe like a 6 out of 10. Um, and then I can never decide if I dislike Companions or College of Winterhold more. I think Companions is slightly better. It's not as egregious. I just don't give a shit about any of the NPCs, and it really wants you to
Uh-huh.
care about them. Um,
Yep. And then oh, they're werewolves. Spoiler.
it is the first quest. It is not
Hmm.
really the Fighters Guild quests in these games have always been the most mid out of any of the guild quests in the games that they're in. I enjoy the one in Morrowind where there's the corruption and they're working with the Thieves Guild, but it's not super interesting.
Mhm.
That's what you get for playing Warrior, I guess. Uh,
Yep.
but the Thieves Guild is the worst by a country mile.
Really?
I hate this quest line, and on a
Why?
replay, it is okay. So I remember when I first played through this, I was doing the Skyrim special, which is you have a character that does not fit the guild that you're being a part of, right? Like I was playing a
Sure.
mage, and I was doing the Thieves Guild, and I was not spec'd into Illusion or anything like that. Um,
Yeah.
so like that's not really on the subject of like gameplay and actually being a thief. Skyrim, this is not Thief the game. Skyrim does not have very good
No.
stealth or in-depth like roleplay mechanics at all, so it's always going to be
No.
a little
No,
lackluster.
the stealth in Skyrim and all of the like thieving mechanics in Skyrim are iconically simple. Like you crouch and you're invisible, and then lockpicking is like a guessing game that
Yeah,
takes like you should never ever put any skill points into lockpicking ever because there's
I
no
did my
point.
first playthrough
Yeah. Yep.
because you can do thieving stuff normally. The point of the Thieves Guild quest line is to give you cool set pieces, and I think
Yes.
it does that well. To me, there are three like big there are three big arcs of the Thieves Guild quest. The first one is you join, you go to the Ratway, you do some like local strong arm, like you're part of the mob basically. You're like
Yeah,
harassing
you
people on the
shake
docks.
you either shake people down for money. You literally like each of the three people that you have to get the loans back from. You have two options to do it. The most straightforward one that the game kind of directs you to is to just beat the living hell out of them with your bare fists
Which is
until they give
fun.
up. Which is fun until you get to the Argonian woman because,
Yeah.
Argonians have the like inherent yeah, they just do a shit ton of damage with their bare fists because they have claws. And so all three of the people have a different option where there's NPCs around them that you can talk to and they'll give you some kind of, I don't know, dirt or information on them that you can use to convince them to pay up.
I when you describing your mom earlier, I just am only thinking of Kirava Skyrim as that's just what your mother looks like.
Uh,
This is a long pause. This is a long
uh
pause. I
well,
was
she's
trying to
not a lizard person.
No, I because you were doing the powerlifter thing. I was trying to bring it back. I was trying to do a callback. That was a long pause. As soon as that happened, I was like, I'm off point today. I apologize. We're recording earlier than usual, and
Mhm.
I did get phlebotomized earlier today, so I'm a little low on the blood tank right now. So
Awesome.
that might be hurt, dude. I was driving to when I was driving to the hospital earlier. I There was like a pair of geese and like their little goslings, and they were like going across the road, and so the person ahead of me was stopping. And I was like, "Aw," and then there was one gosling who was like scared or something, so he wasn't like crossing the road. So the car ahead of me went, and then he like started run across the road, so I stopped, and he's just running and running, and then he like tripped and fell, and then and then he
Oh
got
my
up again
gosh.
and ran across. I was like, "Aw, the
That's
little
adorable.
gosling ate shit on the pavement." And then they went and
That's
did
that's great.
geese things in the ditch or whatever. I don't know. They're cute when they're
Mhm.
young, and then they turn into flying rats when they're
Vicious
older.
little hate monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would never
Yeah,
feed the
good
one
old
day
geese.
blinding stew to the geese. The adults, though.
Yeah, but it's a I mean, the way that the Thieves Guild questline kind of starts you in the same way that the rest of them do, where it's like the Thieves Guild questline's city is Riften, and they kind of even if you ignore Brynjolf when he walks up to you and like
Yeah,
forces you into a conversation when you enter the city market for the first time, it's not hard to learn that the Thieves Guild has had like a historical presence in Riften because they don't shut the fuck up about it. And so, yeah, Brynjolf talks to you. He's like, "Oh, and this is a guaranteed set of dialogue, regardless of the state of your character. You could have like 10 gold pieces to your name and never have committed a crime, and Brynjolf will walk up to you and go, "You've never worked an honest day in your life for all that gold you're carrying, have you?" He doesn't give a fuck if you're the most noble, like like charity giving poor ass paladin in the world, he immediately pins you as a thief. Because let's be honest, most people that play Skyrim are.
He does actually change his dialogue if you're carrying fewer than 500 gold coins. He says running a little light in the pockets, lad or lass.
Actually?
Yes. It's
Wow, sorry, I've never
most
been poor.
times you're never going to be that poor in Skyrim. Uh
Yeah.
I guess unless you beeline there straight from the beginning. Um
And I did that too, like in this playthrough, and I still had more than 500. So,
yeah. I'm gonna finish real quick the three arcs of the Thieves Guild. I'd say
sure.
the first arc is where you're just doing very generic like thieving stuff, and I would say this encompasses joining the guild, the first couple shakedown jobs, the little bit at Hunting Brew Meadery where you have to like enforce their monopoly on mead production, and also the thing at the meadery in
The beehive, the bee
the
place.
beehive. No, that is Hunting Brew Meadery. The first one is Golden Glow Estate.
Yeah, Golden Glow State
It's
is
very
the
like
bee place, and
generic.
then Honeybrew.
It's very like generic. You're in the crime syndicate. It's Elder Scrolls has always gone a little bit back and forth on whether or not the Thieves Guild is like a happy-go-lucky Robin Hood kind of thing, or if it's like the mafia. And they start out very like actual organized crime in this one. The later parts
Yes.
of Oblivion and I mean, kind of throughout Oblivion's and especially the later parts of Morrowind's Thieves Guild questline are very much, oh, we're Robin Hood, we steal from the rich and help the poor. Um, while this one is more Daggerfall had a Thieves Guild, but that's not relevant here. This one is very much like, oh, you're like joining the crime syndicate. I'm not opposed to that. Most
Yeah.
people's that I could see online, a lot of people were complaining about you're not doing very much thieving in this quest line compared to Oblivion's, where it was more about like actual heists. But you
Uh-huh.
can do thieving for like the Radiant jobs, and
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm fine with the Thieves Guild being less thieving specifically and more like general organized crime stuff.
Yeah, the overall, like, the main quest line of the Thieves Guild doesn't have a whole lot to do with, like, typical burglary or otherwise thieving, but there are a lot of, like, not they're not really randomly generated. There's, like, a preset kind of list of
Well,
5, like, up
there are
to
randomly
5.
generated Radiant ones, and then there are the capstone ones for those holds.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. But basically, you talk to either Vex or Delvin, and they give you a job, and you can pick the kind of job. And then you go do some good old thieving.
We can pick the job by safe scumming, yeah.
Well, if you talk to Vex, you can pick the
Oh, well, they
kind
have
of job.
different. Yeah, they offer different ones. The fastest
Yes.
one is
Yeah.
numbers, but
Yeah.
it's yeah. So I mean, if we'll just go to the second arc right now. The first arc, I don't really have many problems with. It still has issues, but at least it feels like you're doing crime stuff. It feels like you're in the Thieves Guild. Um,
Uh-huh.
they give you way more important stuff for a newbie than they really should, but that's just how Skyrim and general Elder Scrolls Guild questlines work. Um,
Yeah, you're the special boy because you're
you're
the
the
special
special
boy.
boy. Look, you need. There's a really good review by Seamus Young, 20 Sided Tale, about the Skyrim Thieves Guild questline from like late December 2011. So this was like really early on. Um,
Yes.
and I remembered that from a couple years ago, so I wrote down some stuff because I didn't want to be tainted by it, and then I reread it, and it's a good breakdown of this. It gets a little bit into the cinema sins like ding tier with some of it, but it points out there are a lot of strange logical leaps, to put it lightly, in this quest. And I agree with
Hmm.
most of those, but I feel like I'm playing an Elder Scrolls game. I'm not expecting great character writing. I'm not expecting. You need to suspend your disbelief a little bit going into this. And I was going into this where I was like, I'm deliberately not being very critical of this because I kind of know what to expect from an Elder Scrolls questline. Um,
Sure.
I don't think that they're. One of his complaints was like, "Oh, their motivations and don't make sense, and their dialogue is really stilted." I'm like, that's just how Skyrim
That
characters are written.
yeah, you can't really like.
Like, I get it; it's a fair criticism, but we're working with a low bar here.
Yeah, it's hard to criticize a specific quest line of an Elder Scrolls game by knocking the dialogue. Like there are
Yeah,
very few things. There are very few quest lines or just even interactions in general that have like what I would consider probably like meaningful dialogue choices.
First arc, downright fine. Second arc, we go downhill quickly. Somebody betrayed the guild a long time ago, except plot twist, she was framed, Mercer's actually evil. You go with Carlia, and you have to go and translate the old guild master's journal, and you have to go break into the guy's thing in Markarth, and like
Yep.
get the Rosetta Stone. Um,
Yes. You do some good old burglary.
and then I think that I would argue that the third arc starts when you go back to the after you go back to the guild and expose Mercer. When you go and you become the
Yeah.
Nightingales and you do all that stuff, that is when the quest line completely lost me.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely turns away from the whole like it does kind of it stops feeling like a Thieves Guild quest line.
Here, you tell me why you like this, and then I will tell you why I dislike it because I think we might just be looking at this from opposite directions.
Because I see your point where like the whole Nightingale portion of it after you finish translating it all and doing all that is definitely where it falls off. Because then I think the most obvious kind of like downside that's visible is the Nightingale armor. Because it's not like by any means a bad armor set. It just doesn't it caters much more to the kind of shadow warrior than it does any
Yeah,
kind of thief.
I'm not going to knock the game for that because, like I said, this is not the video game Thief. This is not like
Yes,
this
yeah.
is not even like this is not a video game that has particularly well thought out stealth mechanics or particularly thought out roleplay mechanics. Like
Uh-huh.
in Daggerfall, one of the benefits of being in the Thieves Guild was you could get arrested for crimes and you had to go before the judge, and you got, with each rank in the Thieves Guild, you got a bonus to trying to bribe the judge to ignore your crimes. And I
Uh-huh.
mean,
That's
and
crazy actually.
it's it's a feature that was left by the wayside because it was kind of it was trying to be a different kind of RPG and it didn't really come up that much, but it's neat to have.
Mhm.
So something that is primarily focused around stealth gameplay and like maybe trying to get into the social aspect of like bribery and like having connections and doing all that stuff. It's always going to
Mhm.
fall a little bit flat because this is the kind of game that we're talking about. That's why I think Dark Brotherhood works much better than Thieves Guild because this is the go to places and kill people game, and the Dark Brotherhood
Yes.
questline is almost
Is
entirely
go to
go to
places
places
and
and
kill
kill
people.
people with cool set pieces.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, so yeah, you do yeah, you finish translating the fucking God, what's his name? Gallo? Gallon?
Gallus.
Gallus.
I
You
don't
finished
even. I don't
translating
even
Gallus's
remember.
journal, who was the like previous guild master that Mercer Frey murdered, because Gallus was not happy with the way Mercer Frey was doing things, and that he was like living a little. This is okay. Mercer Frey did things violently, which Gallus didn't like, which the Thieves Guild establishes very early that that's something they don't like. Like they're not trying to kill people. They just want to steal from them, which
But
take the moral high ground and continue to break the law, do whatever
but
you
they're
say.
fine with roughing them up.
Yeah, you can rough them up a little bit. They just don't like killing people. But what I was surprised even near the end of the quest line, Brynjolf is like, I need you to go do something. I don't really give a shit if you need to like if there's people in your way, you can kill them, whatever. Um, so they're a little loosey goosey with that law in the first place. But then one of the bigger other criticisms of Mercer that like caused Gallus to basically he was like getting ready to oust him to the guild was that he was living lavishly, which is
He's a crime
like
boss.
yeah, he's a crime lord. I think you're allowed to live lavishly. I understand why he was criticizing him because of that, because he was getting the money by like literally stealing from the guild.
There's a,
But
but they also make a point that he has a huge mansion in Riften that he never spends time in. But he has
yeah,
hired security in there with a bunch of artifacts. So it's like,
uh-huh.
I mean, maybe that's just like his trophy house, and he's spending all his time like sleazing around or whatever. Look, I don't want to get again into the CinemaSins ding territory with that because there's a million ways that we can headcanon that into making sense. It's not like a plot hole by itself. but it
Uh-huh.
is a mark of just kind of being stupid.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you can make it make sense, but you could also just find a different plot point to focus on, and it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, you do get a cool sword in his basement though, which is never talked about.
If you wait until you're like the highest level on that level list, I think it's like 25, it might be 35. It's actually the best one-handed weapon in the game,
Yep.
which I used to do
Yeah.
in the past. That was actually the one reason why I did that playthrough for my warrior, or
Mhm.
that
And the
quest for my
best
warrior
part too,
playthrough.
you don't need to do the Thieves Guild quest to get Chillrend.
I
Like
thought it was
you can just break into Mercer's house.
I thought it was an unpickable lock if you're not doing the quest.
I think it is, but I think there's a different way inside.
Yeah, you can shoot down the back entrance, but I thought that was also like a this lock needs the key.
No, I know there is a way that you can do it without having done the Thieves Guild questline, because when I was first playing Skyrim, I was like best sword in Skyrim, and of course that popped up, and there was a YouTube guide on how to get the children without doing the Thieves Guild questline, so I did that. So it is possible. You can just ignore that.
I'm on UASP right now and trying to find. I don't know. There are a lot of like strange moments in this. Like one of the big things that I didn't realize until after I'd played through, and it really bugged me. And then I read the Seamus Young thing, and he also keeps bringing this up, and I fully agree. 25 years has passed since.
Yes,
That is
yeah.
too long. It
This
should be
is this
five
is a
years.
big
It
this
is
is a big
too
point.
long. It's weird they keep bringing that up, but 25 years is way too long for this story.
Hmm. Yep, Gallus died. Mercer killed Gallus, and then almost killed Carlia, and Carlia had to go into hiding. And then 25 years after that is when your character gets involved and does all this stuff. That is an absurdly long time, even by like Elder Scrolls standards, for just a a gap.
Even with elves, because the people
Yes.
involved are
Yeah, so
humans.
that means like Mercer was 25 years younger than he was at the time. So that means he's probably like what, 50 at the youngest?
There's a lot of just strange logical inconsistencies with how things are presented in this quest line that only become more obvious the more you think about them.
Yeah, the overall like chronology of the past of the Thieves Guild in Skyrim doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I personally don't think that takes away from the quality
I
of the quest line
I
itself.
think you can still enjoy the set pieces and turn your brain off, and I do agree that that's kind of why these quests exist. Um,
Like if that's not how you're playing Skyrim, I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
and I feel like again, if we're reviewing this quest line and we have to constantly repeat, this is you have to lower your expectations before going into this. I feel like that's also an indictment on the quality of this quest line in and of itself. But
Oh, for sure. But the thing is though, you have to do that for like all of
yeah,
the whole game pretty much.
even my point with why I dislike this quest is even if we take it at face value where we're ignoring tons of strange inconsistencies and bad character writing and kind of nonsense stuff, even if we lower our expectations to that point, I think that the Dark Brotherhood is okay. Companions and Mages College aren't great, and Thieves Guild is pretty bad, even if we're looking at it from that perspective.
Hmm. Uh, I don't know. I still have a hard time putting the Thieves Guild below the Mage College quest line.
I think it's stupid, but at least they make an attempt to like actually try and have you attend lectures and teach you magic, which I don't think any other game really does. I mean, it is abandoned almost immediately. A lot of these quest lines start out with doing
Yeah.
very generic stuff like you would expect from them, but then almost immediately abandon it in favor of some
Mhm.
big like overarching plot where the Dragonborn has to be the specialist guy because that's how this game works.
Yeah, pretty much every Skyrim quest line follows the pattern of, welcome to the organization. Here's what we do as an organization. And then in about 10 real life minutes, you go, "Uh-oh. shit's bad.
The
You
ancient
have to
something or
fix it.
other is happening. What's the. Hold on, let me find this fucking green text. Fuck, I meant to prepare this and I forgot. Mage's Guild is bad,
Yeah,
but it at least
classic
tries to
Skyrim.
be like the proper college aspect, which I kind of like. I enjoy the Skyrim guilds when they're trying to be actual guilds and organizations and not have you be the specialist boy. I
Mhm.
think they almost universally fall apart once they get to that point.
Yeah, I think the Radiant quests, like the basic kind of humdrum thieving quests that you gain the ability to do in the Thieves Guild play more into that than the main quest line does, which is you could consider a flaw in its own. But I think like the guild itself does offer that. Is it maybe not the greatest game design that the uh, guild master armor set you don't actually get when you become the guild master, but you have to effectively slave away and do mildly unentertaining, partially procedurally generated side quests for a couple hours to get it. I think that's not great. But I think that's also not part of the main quest line.
I'm gonna be real with you. I actually don't mind the Radiant quest that much. That might be the Daggerfall brain rot speaking. Um, I don't hate the idea of
Mm.
that because if people are like, oh, we don't get to do fancy heists and steal things, it's like, well, you can still steal things. Yeah, it's much less imposing and you don't have those bespoke set pieces and scripting, but it's still, if you want to do that for the Thieves Guild and get rewarded, you absolutely can do that. Um, I fully understand people who have
Yeah.
that criticism, but for me personally, I'm fine with doing that. And I think that
Mhm.
those 5 capstone quests, I think, are actually some of my favorites in the quest line because they scratch that itch of you're doing organized crime stuff, but it still has again those like bespoke dungeons and set pieces. So it's like it's scratching that same itch that the first act of this does, where it feels like I'm just doing normal Thieves Guild stuff. Granted, a lot of them devolve into like in and clear this dungeon of bandits, and it's just rival bandits. But that's Skyrim. It's gonna happen.
Mhm.
The later parts of the Thieves Guild quest line
Yep.
are just intrigue about characters that I don't care about. There's no thieving, there's no pretense at organized crime. I mean, Nocturnal and like that sort of stuff has been present, and like the spiritual aspect of the Thieves Guild has been present in Oblivion and Morrowind before. Um, I don't hate that on
Yeah.
principle, but it's executed so poorly here.
And even like one of the main things for doing most of the quest lines, like in Skyrim, from like a purely gameplay standpoint, is you get cool set pieces. Um, and like the Thieves Guild quest, the basic Thieves Guild armor stuff is cool. It's like it's good armor for thieving.
Yeah, that's all right.
Each piece is like a yeah like a
Muffled, backstab
unique
damage. No, that's Dark Brotherhood.
enchantment stuff. No, it doesn't even give you that's Dark Brotherhood. It like makes you lockpicking is easier, prices are better, stealthing is easier, and you like it ups your carrying capacity.
Yeah, it's like generic thief stuff.
Yeah, which is that's all handy dandy. Yeah, it's good armor, and you can get it like really early too. It's like they pretty much hand it to you after you do the Golden Glow Estate quest. Um, the Nightingale armor is not thief armor. It's it's for what they kind of show a nightingale to be. You're a defender of the Twilight Sepulchre. Um, and
Not
so
quite
it
assassin, but like stealthy warrior.
yeah, very much so. And then one of the bigger problems that I have with the Thieves Guild quest line is kind of involved in the other equipment that you get during the like back half of it because Carlia gives you get a Nightingale blade, which is a good sword. It just is a good sword. It does like 10 points of life steal, which is effectively an extra free 10 damage on top of what is already a decent like one-handed sword. And then at the very end of the quest line, Carlia gives you her bow, which is a Nightingale bow, which is also like a decent bow. So it's a good sword and it's a good bow. But one of the items that you hang on to and is kind of the main thing you need to effectively, like quote unquote, steal back from Mercer, but you're not stealing it from him. You just
Yeah.
kill the bastard and take it off his corpse, is the skeleton key. And the skeleton key is one of the Daedric artifacts, and I would argue it is the most like thief-oriented item that you actually acquire in the Thieves Guild quest line, and immediately you have to get rid of it to
Yep.
actually finish the quest line. And because you get it so late in the quest line, it's not an uncommon like series of actions to do to just get the fucking lockpick and then stop doing the Thieves Guild quest line.
I normally don't want to ding the quest for not having good enough unique loot, just because I have played Skyrim enough that I understand that you, the player, are always going to be able to create better equipment. Um,
Yeah, and I don't even think like the point that I'm trying to get here isn't that the quest line doesn't give good unique loot because it does. I just think it's a little I think it's a little kind of misplaced that the best item that you get for the purpose of thieving is you just immediately get rid of it. And the only downside for not getting rid of it is you don't finish, you don't get the Carlia doesn't give you the bow, and you don't get the like once per day power from
which are
Nocturnal.
all mid.
Which if you're playing, yes, they are all mid.
As once per day powers almost always are in these games.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is what I would consider the like obvious choice is the one that makes you it's like a 120-second buff that makes you invisible when you crouch. I think that's probably the most useful for like actual thieving, but you basically get that as part of the stealth skill tree. So yeah, those are bad. And so there's really no like you could just keep the skeleton key and then lock picking becomes trivial for the rest of the game, despite the fact that lockpicking is already kind of trivial.
The rewards for the Thieves Guild quest line are definitely worse. I think that they are the only like quest line reward from any of the guild quests that I really can think of off the top of my head is there is no equivalent like master level. Like you have master robes for different magic, but the equivalent like master hood, the
Mm-hmm.
one that would grant you 50 points of magicka, doesn't exist. It's the Archmage circlet
Yep.
that you get at the end of the Mages Guild quest line, and the only reason I know that is because I sold it my first playthrough when I was playing the mage, and then I went back and was like, oh, I want to get in the master hood because I figured it had to exist, but I had just never seen it.
Nope, not a thing.
Nope.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. So I think and like the fact that the Daedric artifacts in Skyrim are usually pretty damn good pieces of equipment. Like that's kind of their whole thing. They're like singular items that are just generally pretty freaking effective for what they do.
at worst, they are a stronger weapon than
Yes.
normal. At best, they give you like they unlock new game mechanics like the cannibalism from Nimira's
Right.
Ring.
And so I think like just honestly this might be a mod because anything in Skyrim is at this point. It's been out for 15 years. Um if I had to make like one change to the Thieves Guild quest line, I would probably buff the skeleton key and either give you the option to keep it or otherwise
Yeah,
because they hype it up
they really
for
do.
the whole time. It's like, oh, it's a skeleton key that can open any lock, but that's not just physical locks. It can open up locks in your mind and unlock, powers within you. I think you don't even need to do that. If you just make it so you can use the skeleton key to treat unpickable locks as pickable, I think boom, there's your Daedric artifact.
Well, that would be fun, but that would break the scripting of a lot of stuff in the game, and that would require Bethesda.
As if like half the shit in Skyrim doesn't already.
I don't know. I think that I agree with it in principle, but I think that the way Bethesda uses this lock needs the key to be unlocked is kind of lazy in some areas, in the same way that I think that just giving everyone
Hmm.
essential is kind of lazy. Uh, Again, I'm not a
Yep.
game dev, and it's hard to find like a better way to say like, oh, you have an open world game, but you want to restrict this area. It's hard to find like a better way to do that you can implement in a reasonable amount of time, but it's I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, I mean, there's a whole bit with Mercer Frey going into Snowveil Sanctum where it's an unpickable lock until he gets in there because we can't have this dungeon start
Yes.
until this point in the quest line.
Yeah. Or we watch him open one of the claw doors,
Yes.
which is crazy.
That's a if we're trying to power scale Mercer Frey, that's an amazing feat because that's
Yes,
like the
holy
only
shit. Yeah. Like it literally one of the first quests the game tries to put you on has you get a golden claw and then you go open a door with the golden claw. And the whole thing is you can't open those doors in any other way. Like it doesn't even give you the unpickable lock prompt. It's just not even an option to try and pick it. And Mercer Frey just like cracks one of these open with the skeleton key. So I think even if you could just like fuck it, you can ignore claw doors
that
with the
would.
skeleton
I mean,
key.
that's really situated. If they did that as the if Morrowind, holy shit, if Skyrim did that as the ability, people would then be complaining that it's too situational. I mean, like you can't win. I mean, it depends on the game, but like Oblivion, the skeleton key boosted your security skill by 40, which basically meant that you could just sit there and spam the auto attempt if you didn't want to play the minigame. Morrowind is weird because it's not part of like Nocturnal's quest. It's just Gentleman Jim Stacy just has it, and it's basically a 100% open, but it only has limited uses, which is very Daggerfall-esque. And in Daggerfall, it actually enhances your dodging by 15 points in Daggerfall, which is very fun.
Oh,
And also it allows you to cast
interesting.
the open spell because Daggerfall's weird.
Right. Does Skyrim? I don't think Skyrim has like a knock.
No, Skyrim does not
equivalent
have an
spell.
open lock.
Do they? Is
which
there like an open lock
I mean,
spell?
it has the Tower Stone, but that's a once per day power, and it's expert at maximum. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
It's
womp womp.
no, I think it's really hard to balance an open world game like that, and I think Bethesda has always had to toe that line with varying success. I'm not gonna for me, the bigger problems with the story are that, well, the bigger problem is I just don't care about the story because I don't want to be like I'm saying I'm going to this shrine, right, and I'm going to be a nightingale. I get nothing from it. I don't really want to do this. The armor I don't think looks that good. It just feels very.
I don't know. I think the Nightingale armor looks cool. I think that's one thing it has going for it.
It looks Mall Ninja as hell. It's like fantasy Mall Ninja. It's trying to be edgy and stealthy and spooky, and everything after like the betrayal sequence just falls flat for me because it's just even if we're suspending our disbelief and the Dragonborn has to be the specialist boy, it's just kind of like, okay, so, and I don't mind going to Markarth and doing the Falmer as part of this quest line because I think it uses the setting of Skyrim nicely in a way that, like, this.
Yes.
But you're going there and you're doing this and you bring the diary back and we have this. It just, that's around the point where I stop caring because it's a bunch of drama about proving Carlia's innocence to the guild. But we've heard about Carlia for the first time like 90 minutes ago, and we've only really met her like 30 minutes ago. And
yep, and she's been gone for 25
she's been gone
years.
for 25 years. Everyone recognizes her as like being the one who killed Mercer, and they're like, oh, but we have his translated diary from another language. And it's like, oh, never mind, you're cool. And then they go in the guild. This I think is the moment where it really like gets me. They go into the vault and they unlock it, and it's empty. And they're like, oh my god, it's empty. Have you never checked the vault? I guess
in 25 years.
Maybe Mercer had been working on it for a while, and he had just finished cleaning it out right before he went to Snowveil Sanctum. It just really loses me at the point where we're expected to care about this, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a risky move because then it suddenly makes the entire quality of the plot line completely dependent on the type of person that's playing it.
And I understand I'm saying this when I'm playing a role-playing game. So this is a really strange thing to say about a role-playing game where ideally you're supposed to get invested in this and the characters. The reason I bring this up is because we're talking about
Yeah.
Skyrim characters in particular, which nobody gives a
Yeah.
shit about. You know why Serana is everyone's favorite character from these games? It's because
Typically
she's the
not. Yeah.
only character in Skyrim. She's the only character that has an arc and a personality and a fucking unique voice actor.
This is true. This is true. We do love the vampire quest line.
I need to. I'm definitely not the target audience for this because I don't really care about the characters too much. I cared more when I first played this game, and after
Yeah.
replaying it for many, I don't even know how many times, I realize how fake it is. If that makes sense, like I see the limit. I see the limits of the mind cage this game is constructed for us. Um, I don't know. You talk more. I've been talking too much.
I don't know. I think I've always had about like a hard time in general being critical of Skyrim because it's always been such like an integral part of what got me into video games initially.
I feel that.
And I keep having this it's just one of those things that you keep going back to. Like I have a couple hundred hours in Skyrim and I think the longest singular playthrough that I have is maybe 60 hours.
I feel that. I've only killed Alduin maybe like half a dozen times of all the times I played this game.
Oh, once. I've killed that mother. I've done the main story
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
And it was out of like obligation. The main story is not God. It just if you do the main quest line in Skyrim, it makes you so sick of the fucking glowy
Oh my
caves with
god.
random bullshit in them that are all just carbon copies of each other.
Dwemer and Falmer dungeons are always the worst because they
Yeah,
never
Skyrim can be
end.
summed this yeah, the Skyrim main quest line can be summed up to use more modern terminology
That
as Falmer slop.
Blackreach is supposed to be this massive, huge, and in fairness, Blackreach is like a really impressive
Oh my god,
thing,
dude, I get
but
so sick. Yeah.
yeah, having unique environments and set pieces really elevates the quality of your quest
Yeah, no,
line. And
I think the like because you can effectively sum up every Skyrim quest line to be um here's a dungeon and here's a reason to go into it. Uh Pretty much, right? And the nice thing in my opinion about the Thieves Guild quest line is that about half of the quests that you go into that have you go into like quote unquote dungeons are not ancient ruins filled with the same enemy you've
yeah,
been fighting over and over again. Um except for the fucking honey brew meadery. That's exactly it's like, oh, I gotta go into a meadery and then you end up in a
yeah.
cave. Whatever. But
They don't have actual stealth mechanics in these games, so they can't actually have stealth be the gameplay check that you do for the Thieves Guild quest line. So it's got to be again
yeah.
Nightblade Warrior at best, because that's
Uh-huh.
it's whatever. It's the
And
game it
the
is.
crazy thing too, and this is something that I like re-notice every time I play through the Thieves Guild quest line, is kind of going back to the whole thing with the Thieves Guild is that they're like one of the ways that they kind of paint themselves initially is they have like a certain sense of honor. Like, honor among thieves is a thing. That's a thing in more than one kind of storytelling
It's a
environment.
trope that you can, yeah.
Right, and it's something that they kind of try to attach to with the whole try not to kill your way through this situation. Um, because in Skyrim, that is 90% of the solutions is just
They're
murdering your
professionals.
way through an entire quest line. Yeah, right. They're professionals and professionals have standards. And you would think that going into these places that are literally just like people's houses, like the Golden Glow Estate and Honeybrew Meadery and stuff, and all the places that you actually like, even the Dwemer Museum, when you end up in Markarth trying to get the fucking Rosetta Stone, You get through, and I'll give credit to the first part of the Dwemer Museum because there are regular town guards in there, and if you get caught, you either have to kill all of them or you get
Yeah,
arrested and boom, bounty. That right there is what a thieves like breaking. That's
yeah.
what a burglary quest should be. It's not there's risk of death if you fuck up. It should be there are literally risk of financial and legal consequences because that's what thieving is. You're breaking the law.
Your character in Skyrim is so powerful most of the time that they can't make it feel like, oh, I don't want to get caught for my own sake. It's I don't want to get caught so that I'm
Yes.
protecting the people that would catch me, basically. And I think that's a fine way. It's because you're the
Exactly.
player, you don't really care about killing the nameless, faceless guards in a video game. It should be, oh, it's a
Mhm.
hassle for me because I have to pay gold or run away or get my bounty cleared or whatever. It should make it feel like I'm not, like, I don't care about these people. It's a hassle for me if I kill them, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, but even if you take like even if you dive into it a little bit, like if you just take it with the perspective like that the guild kind of presents you with, which is as a thief, you shouldn't really be killing town's guards or like people of authority. It's fine. You have to sneak past the guards. But then the second you get like into any of these buildings, or actually even for like one of the other quests in Riften that's not totally related to the Thieves Guild quest, but has you break into like the Blackbriar family
Is that
estate.
the that is
It's
that the
another
horse one?
burglary quest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the horse one. And that's still thieving, so it's kind of related in a sense. They all of the enemies in all of these quests are just nameless mercenaries.
I mean, yeah.
And I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think it should be I think it would be a lot more I think it would be a little more consistent if and this also ties into the make everyone essential problem in Skyrim
Yeah.
because with quests like this you are given two choices. You either have important NPCs present in these locations that will have actual consequences for killing them,
That's more work.
but in that sense you have to then also program in those consequences and make them not essential, or you fill the thieving stealth stealing quest with nameless mongrels that are there to be slain.
And that's what you're doing in all of Skyrim anyway. It feels out of place if you think about it, but when you're playing it for the first time, it doesn't. Like when I first played this, I was like, "Oh, I'm fighting through the Golden Glow Estate guards or whatever so I can burn the beehives." And then now I'm like, "Wait, why am I doing this?" And you technically can sneak with invisibility and muffle.
Yeah, like when I play through it, I snuck through them. I snuck through them via a lot of save scumming, but that's just kind of how you do that.
But you don't get anything for it. You don't get anything for it. You have no reason to be pushed into actually playing a stealthy playthrough in the stealth section of the game. I mean, you can argue that you, the player, should be thinking about that more, and sometimes they'll give you like a slap on the wrist for being like, "Oh, you shouldn't. We're professionals. You shouldn't kill the people." But I think Brynjolf mostly does that if you actually kill the people during the shakedown quests. I think that's the only time he really does that.
Yes.
I do. I will say one thing that
Yeah,
sticks in my mind about the Thieves Guild quest that I like. When I first played this game, again, I was playing a battle mage, so they said burn the hives, and I just started like slinging fireballs, right?
oh, yeah, fire.
And because I was also like fighting
Mhm.
the people in the courtyard, so I just kind of like shot a bunch of fireballs. I got back, and they were like, "You burned all the hives. You were only supposed to burn two." And I was like, "Oh shit," because I was like, "Yeah, I was just kind of flinging stuff around," and Brynjolf got pissed at me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my B." And I think it's good to have like little stuff like that if you can fit it in. It feels like there's care and attention to detail there that just does not feel present at all in later stages of the quest, or even earlier in the quest. If you mess up pickpocketing like the first
Yeah,
quest,
it's
he gets mad at
really
you, but then he lets you in anyway. And
yeah.
it's like you can say that okay, they're on hard times, so they need everyone they can get, but like this guy could be a cop. Like, you don't know. This is like some person
Yeah.
who you don't even have the potential blackmail of, oh, you pickpocketed and did this thing. It's just some guy who you said,
Mhm.
hey, go do crime for me, and he said no or fucked it up or whatever, and he's like, okay, you suck, but actually join my crime gang anyway. It's like, what the? I get this is
Mhm.
again in the same vein as the make everyone essential problem, because you don't want to make the quest impossible for people who may genuinely have fucked up. You want to make it accessible still,
Yeah.
but it just feels so weird.
Yeah, it is definitely a bit there's really not a lot of reasonable ways to have like your player fuck up an initiation process and still have the ability to join that organization without making it like without stretching.
You either need to encourage save scumming, like Morrowind kind of does with there's a tendency for the Elder Scrolls games to become more and more idiot proof as time goes on, which kind of detracts from the experience. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion, and that's a whole other discussion. But
Uh-huh.
it's either encourage reloading the save, or you have to have actual branching paths like a
Hmm.
real CRPG. And Skyrim fundamentally is not that kind of game.
Nope.
Skyrim is click left mouse button simulator with like a veneer of being a video game on top of it.
Year of being a video. That's yeah.
I have like 500 hours in Skyrim. This game had a complete and utter lock on my psyche when I first played it. Um, I part of this is I'm just jaded because I've
Hmm.
played this a lot, and I can't like look past some of the obvious flaws anymore, because it's not as like,
Yeah.
because genuinely as an experience when you're first playing it, the world feels big, right?
It does. It does. And in essence, if you take the time to like walk between places, it's not a small world.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of stuff there. It's just it's all very shallow. Skyrim is it's a very broad but shallow game.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
wide, it's not very tall.
and when you've played it for as long as we both have, like, you start to notice that a lot more. Like, yeah, there's some dungeons that are good, but really the only thing you
Hmm.
can experience after you've played like the different branches of the different quests a couple times is, you know, here's a dungeon I've never been in before. Oh, it's mid. Cool. Here's another ancient Nordic ruin or bandit cave.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
And it's like 5 out of 10. Awesome. I mean, that's what mods are for, and that's why these games have endured. This is not an indictment on the game itself. It's just, I don't like the Thieves Guild questline because it abandons any pretense of really being like a Thieves Guild organized crime thing after the first act, and it focuses more on like, oh, you have to resolve this like ancient
Hmm.
plot and become like an acolyte to this Daedric prince, where it just falls really flat for me. Um,
Yeah. Also, crazy reveal at the end of the quest line that Delvin was right the entire time. The Thieves Guild was literally cursed.
yeah, I do like that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not necessarily any of the actual like the Thieves Guild is on hard times, but it's not because they're fucking up. It's literally because the Daedric Prince of Stealth and Night is hates them.
Can we close this out by talking, because I think we were in agreement that the Dark Brotherhood is the best quest line of these guilds. Um,
Oh, 100%. It's definitely the one I enjoyed the most.
they're very, in theory, Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild have a lot of overlap with stealthy illicit activity. Obviously, the way they go about that is very different.
Yes, and there are even a couple like points in the Thieves Guild quest line where the members of the Thieves Guild mention the Dark Brotherhood,
Yeah,
and you can bring up the Dark Brotherhood where it's like,
the Dark Brotherhood quest line ties into the Thieves Guild, where you have to take the amulet to get appraised, which I like.
yes, yeah, and then even like if you actually talk to some of the NPCs that don't do anything other than exist to have dialogue and train some of your skills in the ratways or like in the cistern. One of them used to be a bandit, and there's literally a dialogue option that's like if you were a bandit and you liked killing so much, why the Thieves Guild and not the Dark Brotherhood? So It's
And the
very,
answer is the
it's
Dark
very,
Brotherhood are a bunch of fucking freaks, and I'm not into that.
yeah, yeah, they are, yeah.
I just like to rob people on the side of the road. I don't want to be part of the whole ritual thing.
And it does kind of like, I don't know, I do like how his little story does involve he left the bandits because it came down to either killing a bunch of innocent people or like killing, fighting with the rest of the bandits, and he was on the fighting with the rest of the bandits side. So it does show a little bit of humanity in whatever his name was.
I don't even. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember the person you're talking about.
Um, but yeah, there's that kind of ties back into like one of the stronger points of the Thieves Guild is the actual NPCs present in the guild itself, more so than the quest line that they have you play through.
Can I give my 2 cents on why I think the Dark Brotherhood works better?
Mhm.
I think that because we were talking about the Thieves Guild, it felt like you were part of a crime, an organized crime Holy shit! The early parts of organized crime organization,
An
yeah,
organized
it
crime
feels like you're a
organization.
part of an actual like criminal enterprise before it just doesn't. And the Dark Brotherhood, the whole shtick is kill people, and that's
Hmm.
basically what you spend the entire time doing. It's fun. There's a few like more generic ones where you're just going to kill like the mine boss or the random hobo or whatever, and then there's ones that have really fun set pieces. Like I really love when you're going to the wedding and they go up to the balcony and you can go up above them and push the gargoyle onto them. That just I'm just tickled pink by that every time. I mean, you can just shoot them with a bow and
Yes, yeah.
arrow, or there's other like. I also love how you go up to the lady and she's so happy that you try anything you try and say to initiate combat with her. She just laughs it off. Like, you can say the Stormcloak say hello and try and like frame it as a political thing. She's like, "Oh yeah, tell them hi right
Hmm.
back." Based.
Yes, yeah. It is really great. Big fans of the Dark Brotherhood.
It's I feel like it sticks to its guns because everyone loves the Oblivion Dark Brotherhood quest and they don't really want to try and do that again. Like, because I think they know I don't think you can really hold a candle to like the
Hmm.
how in depth that one got. So they just try and keep it simple, stupid. They just try and they give you assassinations. There's a little bit of stuff going on in the background. There's a
Yep.
little bit of that, oh, you're the listener, you're the specialist boy, but they kind of forget it immediately afterwards, which I am fine with in this case because I don't like that.
Honestly, I forgot about that part.
The most obvious blemish on the quest is Astrid betrays you because she wants to preserve the Dark Brotherhood, but then they go and they kill everyone in the Dark Brotherhood anyway. It's just such a monumentally stupid thing. I just can't get behind it.
Hmm.
Um, but you move past that, and it's just a bunch more killing, and then you move on to killing the Emperor, which is really fun the first time you do it, and it's still kind of neat afterwards.
Yeah, the Dark Brotherhood quest line does a lot of the same stuff as the Thieves Guild quest line in terms of like the style of its like the how the gameplay that you end up going through while you're doing the quests. The difference is that it's you're supposed to be killing people this time.
Well, and the thing I like about the Thieves Guild, again, I wish they would make up their minds on whether or not it's the Mafia or Robin Hood. But I really like the early quests where you're trying to get them to
Hmm.
pay up, and you're like threatening stuff they have in their house. Like you can talk to other people and like learn about the Argonian's mom and like or Argonian, it's her mom or other family, and you can just like threaten her about that. Like
Hmm.
that's something that you could definitely work more on is like being the mafia strong arm and just don't try and get into the whole Daedric cult or ancient intrigue or whatever. Just work your way up being a soldier for the mafia.
Yep.
And I feel like that would not be the Elder Scrolls quest lines of high highs when they really get into that bespoke drama, all that stuff. But like
Hmm.
the Morrowind guilds are the best example I can think of this because they're all basically just like, yeah, do your job. I mean, the Thieves Guild questline at the end of Morrowind gets kind of into that with the Bal Moligmur, but most of them are just kind of like, yeah, do your job, and you just do your job, and you're like, yeah, you're a good fighter, you're promoted, or like, yeah, you're a good mage. Eventually, you can become the archmage or whatever and do all that stuff, but for the most part, it's just like doing very generic errands with a unique little spin on each of them, and it's not trying to be anything great, and as a result, it isn't
Yeah.
anything great, but it's very fine. I feel like all the quests in Skyrim wanted to have like
Hmm.
a big overarching like serialized thing that you're doing between all the quests, and almost all of them fall flat with that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
do you want to rank this?
sure.
You want to explain our ranking system?
Yeah, so this is something that we do every week, every time we pick a new piece of media, where we have two scales and they inevitably come together to determine the overall quality of this piece of whatever the hell it is that we're talking about this episode. And those two scales are from 1 to 4, how neo-isomorphic something is, and from -1 to -4, how relatable it is. After we assign those two numbers, we then put them together to determine its final neo-isomorphic scale, which is we are literally adding them together like basic math. And the 0 is a perfect score, and anything like the further away from 0 you are, the worse you are on the like end all be all neo-isomorphic scale. So an ideal piece of media would have like the same score in relatability as it does in isomorphism, which
Yes.
like we saw last
It got
week
a 1
actually with
on both scales.
Bigfoot X Sam Elliott. Yep, it got a 1 on both scales, which totaled out to a 0, which is a perfect score. It was the second time we've gotten a perfect score. Um, the only other time I think I can remember was in episode 6 with South Park Stick of Truth.
Yeah. We also did the Tilbert show, but
Yes, yeah, and the Dilbert show.
yeah. So on the neo-isomorphic scale, 1 to 4,
Oh God,
I
honestly,
I genuinely have no idea. I'm going to be honest.
well, it's let's see, it separates itself into three arcs.
That's very orderly, and
Yep,
the arcs
but
are
they're
in order fine.
yeah,
Or,
but they
or,
have kind of, but it's such a steep downward curve as you go through them.
it sometimes media starts high and ends low. This starts fine and ends really bad.
So
I
I think like a a two.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think
Yeah,
this is.
and I'm not giving it a one because Vex is hot.
You know what? You're entirely real for that. Um, yeah, I agree on both counts. So we
Okay,
got it.
so
We're
it's
locking into two. So how
mhm.
relatable is this?
Well, let's see. I like stealing things. Um, so that's definitely a point. I do like taking things from other people. Uh, but we don't really see a whole lot of that as we kind of discussed.
Well, the problem is the
That's like,
Dragonborn is a respected person who quickly ascends the rank of this organization and is held in high regard by pretty much everyone, even if they don't, even if they're a little bit frosty, they still respect you for your skills by the end of it. And that's
mhm.
not something I've ever experienced in my life. So I gotta go -1.
-1. Yeah, honestly, it's a Thieves Guild quest line. I don't think either of us have ever been part of any kind of organized crime, so
Not organized, no.
not organized. I think it's going to be hard to give this anything other than a -1 for a total score. Drum roll, please, of 1,
Woot
which
woot.
is not perfect, but I don't know, it could be worse.
Look, it's still very playable even at its worst because you're still able to play the video game of Skyrim, which is moderately entertaining, even in the worst of cases. So
Yeah, yeah. I think you're not going to have an unfun time
if you turn
with
your
the
brain
Thieves
off
Guild
and you
quest line.
click the left mouse button and you gawk at the big statue at the end, it's
Hmm.
still very fine.
Yeah. Oh, Nocturnal is also just an
That
absolute
is
like
true. She
snack.
does have I no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no more. We really gotta tone it down on the Gooner bait.
Yeah, so tune in next week for. Oh shit, this is mine. I have to introduce it. Have you ever heard of the Grinch's Ultimatum?
I think you showed it to me against my will once.
It's a classic philosophy problem, a la the trolley problem or the prisoner's dilemma. The Grinch's ultimatum and asks the ultimate question: will you be a saint or will you be a Grinch? That's not what we're reviewing, but we are going to be reviewing a piece of music by the guy who made that, so stay tuned.
God damn it. Okay.
Do you have anything else to say?
Eat your vegetables.
Yeah, drive safe.